Alright. Hello everybody, welcome to my FanGame Marathon 2024 mission video. I will be playing Stepmania. What is Stepmania? Stepmania is sort of, you know, FanGame DDR. It's the like freeware version. There's many different names it goes by. In the Groove, Project Outfox. They're all kind of the same thing. They're just different forks of Stepmania, which is basically just a DDR. What you can do with Stepmania is play original DDR songs from the arcade. I got plenty of packs of those, but there's also a bunch of custom songs that people from the community have made, and you know, a lot of them feature tech that's not in the arcade. Those are some of the differences. Let's just get into a song. I've prepared a set list, and I'll explain sort of the basics as we go. Now, there's a lot to cover. Right here, I'm going to change the scroll speed a little, make it a little easier to read. I don't change it a ton. A lot of better players make it much faster. Alright, so this first song is Afronova, a classic song from old arcade DDR. Very exotic song, very memorable for most people who played this game as a kid. So what's happening is these arrows are scrolling up the screen, and I'm trying to hit them, step on them, preferably in time with the beat as they reach the top. If there's two arrows at the same time, that's called a jump. You can see I kind of have to jump to hit it. And that's basically it. Like most rhythm games, it's a very simple premise. Hit the notes in time. But, there's tons of different complicated ways you can expand upon that simple premise to marvelous, to make it more interesting. I will be taking breaks between songs to hydrate, sometimes to talk a bit. Catch my breath mostly. So one of the major branches of Stepmania is called In the Groove. One of the notable things about In the Groove, for me at least, is the presence of what's called tech. Regular DDR, you know, if you go to the arcade today, it's still pretty simple. It's just, you know, arrows scroll, you hit them in the most convenient way that you would think. In the Groove introduces a lot of weird stuff that you kind of have to learn separately, and that's called tech. So I'm gonna go through this next song, which is sort of designed to show off all the tech. I will try to call out the important ones as we see them. I might miss a few, but this is not going to be a quiz. It's just I'm going to maybe talk about some of these as we see them elsewhere. Alright, so the first one is brackets. You might notice that I have 2 feet, but there's sometimes 3 notes that have to be hitting at the same time. It's called a bracket. You stretch your foot over the bracket on the pad to hopefully hit the notes. You have to kind of mod your chart, mod your pad to hit them. Mine's not really modded. Jacks are these jackhammer motions you make when there's multiple notes in a row, and jumps are when you have to jump.
Yes.
So streams are these where it just kind of throws a bunch of notes at you the same speed in a row. Crossovers are when you physically cross over the pad. Sometimes it makes certain patterns easier to hit. Flams, or gallops as I like to call them, are kind of just jumps with
Absolutely wonderful.
offbeats. Foot switches are 2 flams in a row that make you start on the same foot, so you have to like switch where your feet is. Side switches are just a different kind of foot switch. I think the difference is like whether you're on the up or down arrow or the left or right, like the sides, I guess. Bursts are just parts of the chart that are a bit faster than the rest. A hold switch is when you're holding a note
Grab my heart.
and they make you want to hit notes on, you know, they kind of force you to put your right foot down, and then they make you need your right foot, so you have to switch which note you're holding with. So yeah, like I said, not going to be on the quiz, just a heads up. And this is all stuff that you can learn in time. Some of the tech doesn't really make sense at the speed that this song was. Sometimes the tech is like more complicated than the notes. It's just like you need it to hit really fast stuff. But I did want to show it off. All right. So before we get to the next song, I'd like to go into a little bit of my history. When I was a kid, I was not very much in shape. I played a lot of video games and didn't do a lot of outside. So I remember being one of like the slowest kids in my elementary and middle school, running the mile. And then one day at the card store where the arcade cabinets were, a friend started playing DDR, and he got me and my brother into it, and ended up getting the home version. I don't play a ton in arcades, but I played a lot of PS2 DDR. Here with my props. And just playing DDR alone got me into much better shape. So like I was one of the slowest kids, like I said. By the time I graduated high school, I was trying to get presidential fitness for 1 year at least. And I was hitting national pretty consistently. So I owe a lot of that to DDR. So yeah, let's go to the next song before I bore you too much with my history. Burning Heat. You might notice that this song is a 9. That's because we are using the DDR Max 2 rating scale. Some songs, like right next to each other, are 9s. Like there's a couple like 13s. Burning Heat's a 13 by this scale, so it's not. It's sometimes hard to figure out which song is which difficulty because there's multiple scales and it's not a good way to. But this game's been out since the early 2000s, so we've had to change scales. In the Groove uses a different scale too. It just is what it is. All right, so this is Burning Heat. This is another classic DDR Max next song. You might notice that these arrows are different colors than the ones in the other songs. That's because they are syncopated. The arrows are color-coded to which part of the beat they fall on. It's really helpful to parse the pattern as you're going through to know it's going to sound slightly different than a metronome, you know? I chose this song because it's a good chart. I like it a lot. And it's featured in a lot of fan games. There's a lot of gradient sections. First time I heard this song was at an arcade cab playing DDR in 2003 or something. So yeah.
Marvelous.
Wow. Whew. Song lives rent-free in my head. It's just a good song. So I am trying to alternate between original DDR songs and Stepmania originals. So we will keep that in mind as we go to the next song.
Select music.
This is part of the VTuber Pad Pack. The VTuber Pad Pack is made by WRSW. I believe this chart is made by G-Pop, another member of the community. But WRSW made the chart that shows off all the tech.
Perfect.
This is just a bunch of community members that all make songs and organize packs of songs for other people to make. You might have noticed that the notes were like really stopped and then like came out kind of suddenly. There's a lot of that tempo changing, sudden note gimmicks in a lot of songs. Not my favorite, but in this song it's like not unfair. There's a lot of like cool things people can do to accentuate beats with that. Remember earlier we had that bracket that taught me we needed more than 2 feet? There's a different way you can hit some brackets called, I think it's called a slap. I don't know, that's what I call it. I could have hit that note with the bracket, but I wanted to show it off and it's like actually easier to slap it. But some songs will like make you do like a drum roll there or something. I really actually try to avoid songs like that, but this song's kind of a banger and just one slap. So I wanted to show off the slap without having to do many. Another thing that we'll see at the end of this song is mines, this on the left. Those notes that you don't hit. You can hit them. Like it doesn't do anything bad, but you do lose meter. So I guess it's a little bit. The game doesn't, take you out back and shoot. It's just bad to hit them.
Good job.
Oftentimes people will use them both as, added difficulty. It's hard to not hit notes sometimes. Like it forces you to take your foot up if you were pressing it down. But also it will indicate things. On the foot switch chart, it was there to indicate where to do foot switches. People use them to indicate tempo changes. So if you want to put a tempo change in your song, but not make it a I gotcha moment, that's another way to do it. So yeah. All right. So this next song is going to be a Wanna Be the Guy's staple. Also just a song that I really like because I'm a big Toho fan. That apple. I'm actually going to make this a little faster. This song, there's many versions of this chart. G-Pop, who I mentioned before, made a lot of Toho packs and Vocaloid packs. I believe this song shows up in multiple times in both those things. But this version, this current chart, is from DDR, which is, as of recently, the most recent arcade game, but there's a new one coming out, so pretty recent, but not cutting edge by the time the marathon happens. I want to get a good spread of, old arcade and some new arcade and a couple fan-made charts too. I don't have a ton to say about this song. It looks like a good song. There's not a ton of tech in it either. But one of the reasons why I made the speed so fast is this part. There's a big slowdown. So in this game, you can sort of change the scrolling speed, but you can't do it mid-song. So if the tempo is, there's parts where the tempo is really fast and parts where it's really slow, you kind of just have to find a scroll speed that works for both of them. Which can be tough if you have bad reflexes like I do. I tend to prefer parsing through tightly like close together notes and not having to react to fast scrolling, which is why I tend to use minimal speed up if possible. It doesn't actually speed up the notes, like it just makes them visually scroll faster. The song's not faster. You'll see a lot of really good players, if they're playing like tough songs, they'll just have to speed it up just to even see what's going on. I'm playing, I think the toughest song is those 13s I showed off. I can do up to 15s, but I'm not like going crazy just because I want to be able to, make sure I can do it. And put on a good show and like talk while I dance. But there's people that can do like 19s or 20s. One of the things that sort of holds me back is there's a thing called the bar. If you go to the arcade, there's like a bar behind the pad for like safety. So it was there originally for, but people started to realize that if you like hold the bar, you can just dance way more precisely and better. I've always been no bar. I might get into it if I try to improve more, but For now, at least, I'm a no bar player exclusively. All right. So let's go back to that story about me and how Stepmania ties into all this. So get to high school, much better shape. My high school actually had a DDR competition and Guitar Hero competition. I won the DDR competition in my junior and senior year. And I was always like a super introverted kid. Like I didn't talk to many people. So when I like went out in front of the whole school at the pep rally and just like danced to whatever song, it was like a lot of people like, what? I know that kid and he doesn't do these things. So yeah, it was like a cool moment for me, my Bochi the Rock moment, but less cool because it was playing a dance game and not guitar. Anyway, from high school I went on to college and I didn't really bring my stuff with me, but at college I found some people that were playing Stepmania. And that was when I first heard about it. It's like, oh, it's DDR, but you don't have to buy more discs and you can play it on your computer. So I didn't really get into it at the time because I didn't have my stuff with me. And when I went home, obviously, my parents' basement did not stay a game room for much longer after I left for college. So I kind of had to take a bit of a break. DDR is the type of thing, it's loud, it takes up a lot of room. You can't really do it with roommates or people living above or below you. So I kind of had to put it on pause till I got a house. But here I am with a house and finally can get back into it. I've been going 600 days straight, playing at least 20 minutes a day. And it's for the same reasons, to get back into shape. Kind of slipped out of it in all those years growing up, getting a desk job. But it's very easy and very fun to just play Stepmania a little bit every day. So yeah, that's my sales pitch. Play Stepmania. All right. So this next song. This is an old song. It's like an original arcade song. It's on Max 2. So you will notice early in the song there is a big crossover section. The interesting thing about that is this chart actually predates In the Groove, and crossovers really weren't a thing till In the Groove. So what sort of happened was, there were just like charts out there, and people found more creative ways to do them. So it's not like someone just sat in a lab one day and like, how do I make people do weird stuff? Like put their right foot on the left arrow. They were just like, this chart would be easier if you could do it like you're just stepping. They figured out a way to do that by doing crossovers. And once, the patterns emerged where crossovers were sort of obvious, people started making their own charts and throwing them in there. And that's sort of just how the tech became like a standardized thing, I guess. because the the tutorial for Max 2 tells you to double step those. So like left, down, right, down, left, down, right. One of those. And it kind of works, especially at that speed, but when you go really fast, you kind of need to be able to do crossovers. All right. So like even in like the Afronova chart, I was doing crossovers, even though it was like an old chart that wouldn't have them intentionally. This song is a famous I Want You to Love Trap song, Disappearance of Hatsune Miku. This is another one that I got from DDR, this particular chart, but there's versions of it in the Vocaloid pad packs as well. I wanted to show off this one because it has freeze switches.
You move smoothly.
Not quite yet. It's the next one. So you're gonna see it's gonna make me like want to. Well, I keep doing them the right way. If you know the free switch is coming, you can kind of just hit it with the wrong foot, and it makes it so you don't have to do a freeze switch. Kind of instinctively do that sometimes. Another way to outsmart a freeze switch, I guess, is you can spin around. Some charts have that built in. Where it like show it off after. Oh, these parts are called drills. Kind of just a jack with 2 feet.
Absolutely wonderful.
The most common spin would be something like up, left, down,
Excellent.
right. Or up, right, down, left, rather. Sorry. And a way they can force you to do that is if you do a hold note. So like, if you step here with your right foot, then you can't really, it's hard to do this. But if you do it like this, then you can commit to it and spin. Or you can do the switch. And then you have to switch again to hit this. It's sometimes easier to just spin. And one of the things that you can do with no bar, that you can't do with a bar, is spin. Though you can just let go of the bar for a little bit. Not that big a deal. All right. So the next song is another song that you might know from FanGames. This was in Vocaloid Pad Pack 1. Shout outs to Pop and WRSW, who basically made all the packs that I use other songs from. There's not a ton of
You move smoothly.
tech, I guess, in this song. At least not notable like this. It's sort of just like all over the place. But it's all stuff I've pointed out before.
You move smoothly.
Or just shows up once. 'Cause that's how most charts, at least at the high level, do it, is they don't just like, here's a crossover, do a crossover. They kind of just like throw it in the middle of a stream. So you just have to be fluid, always thinking. About where and how you're going to use your feet. Drill at the end was tough. No, drills are tough for me. So are
Excellent.
jacks. Alright. Got a couple more songs. This next one is from Vocaloid Pad Pack 2.
Music.
You notice the background of this song, you will see that they are playing DDR
Are you ready?
at some points. That's cool.
Grab my heart. Absolutely wonderful. You're doing pretty good.
So what's coming up is there's going to be some foot switches that are marked. And some parts that you can do as foot switches that aren't marked. Though sometimes they're easier to do not as foot switches. Coming up is one of my favorite parts. So many notes. And they're different colors. Nice little visual there. And also keep the notes.
You're not an ordinary fella.
They still show which beat they are, just like a different theme. So they just add the visual gimmick without making it tougher to read. Those foot switches are easier to not hit as foot switches, even though they are marked. Maybe they're side switches, not doing them wrong.
Move smoothly.
That's sort of the cool thing is all the tech is just suggestions.
Marvelous.
If the foot switches are too slow, they're just notes at that point. Just hit them as notes. You might just make it worse for you by doing the tech. So yeah. Whew. Don't have to get too bogged down in the developer intentions, right? All right. So we got one more song. The song was originally in a I Want to Be the Guy fan game. This was one of the mini games in the farewell medley. It's a DDR section. I have transcribed that song into Stepmania. Mostly so I could play it without having to boot up the other game's EXE and play with it scrolling down. And then find out mid-marathon that my controller doesn't sync anymore. Just easier to put it into the engine that I know works.
Keep on going. You're doing pretty good. Perfect.
Hopefully I got the chart perfectly transcribed. Interesting thing to note is that this chart is 4 minutes long. Most songs in like arcade versions of DDR are usually truncated to about 2.5 minutes, even if the song is normally longer. But there is a whole subgenre of Stepmania called endurance charts, where the whole point is that the chart is like very long. I think I heard people saying there's like 40-minute charts.
You're doing pretty good.
So it's not unheard of to have long charts, but it does add like a totally different kind of difficulty to it. That is one of the benefits of using the bar, that you usually use a lot less energy. You don't have that thing where you get halfway through the song and then you just like collapse. So I can't do it.
100 combo.
You'll also notice that lots of top players don't move a lot. It almost looks like they're not moving. Just their feet are moving. And sort of sticking to the inside of the buttons.
You move smoothly.
Just little things you can do to be a little faster. I don't mind flailing my arms around like an idiot. Because I'm just trying to exercise for the most part.
Perfect. You're not an ordinary fella.
But yeah, it's pretty good run of these songs, so I'm thankful for everyone who watched this far.
You're not an ordinary fella. You move smoothly. Select music.
Alright. That was my FanGame Marathon 2024 submission. Got a good mix of songs, I think. Hopefully you all liked it. Hopefully I got across the appeal of Stepmania, DDR, whatever you want to call it. This game is free to download, but if you want to play on a pad, you will need to acquire one of those. This that I'm on right now is an LTEC. Pretty expensive, but it lasts a long time and is pretty good with notes. Hitting the notes that I intend to hit. But you can get a much cheaper option if you want a foam pad, especially if you're starting off. Foam or plastic paddle will do you just fine. But yeah, and some people just play on keyboard too. That's valid. Whatever you have fun with. Oh. But yeah, thank you all for watching. I have been Zemu. It's been the FanGame Marathon 2024 Stepmania Showcase. Yeah.